India and Bhutan's ancient connect renewed with Prime Minister Modi's visit. Prime Minister visits National Chorten Memorial, receives warm welcome with traditional cultural performances in Thimpu. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addresses the students at Royal University of Bhutan, highlights the ancient educational connect between the two nations, says India and Bhutan will cooperate extensively in new frontiers, from schools to space, digital payments to disaster management. Restrictions being phased out gradually in Jammu and Kashmir, over 50,000 landlines activated. Prohibitory orders lifted from several police station areas, schools to open tomorrow. Senior BJP Leader Rajnath Singh kicks off BJP campaign for Vidhan Sabha elections in Haryana with Jan Aashirwad Yatra, gives stern message to Pakistan, saying that talks will be held only if it stops supporting terror. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu holds delegation-level talks with President of Lithuania during tour of 3 Baltic nations, says all countries must intensify their collective efforts to eliminate terrorism and isolate nations aiding and abetting terrorism. Good afternoon, I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. Day 2 of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Bhutan visit began with an address to students at Royal University of Bhutan. He said, Bhutan's past, present and future share common and constant threads of deep spirituality and youthful vigor. He also described India and Bhutan as natural partners who are close not just due to geography, but also with the great attachment people of both countries share with each other. Prime Minister said, history, culture and spiritual traditions of India and Bhutan have created unique and deep bonds between our peoples and nations. Prime Minister of the world's largest democracy addressing what is perhaps the world's smallest university, the Royal Bhutan University. The sentiment beautifully put by this young student.
This is the first time one of the greatest leaders of the world's largest democracy has come to speak to students of one of the smallest universities.
The bond of education that India and Bhutan share is an ancient one and remains central to the ties the two countries share. This is evident from the fact that out of 9 MOUs inked on Saturday, 7 were in the field of education. The interconnection between Indian National Knowledge Network and Rakren was also inaugurated. This will enable collaborative research, development and enable knowledge and information sharing. Addressing the young minds at the Royal Bhutan University, Prime Minister Modi said, the bond of learning between India and Bhutan is as modern as it is ancient.
Education and learning have been central to this ties between India and Bhutan. In ancient times, Buddhist teachers and scholars formed the bridge of learning between our peoples. We welcome more students of Buddhism from Bhutan in institutions such as Nalanda University.
Another aspect of India-Bhutan ties that has seen a fillip is space cooperation. The Thimpu ground station of South Asia satellite was also jointly inaugurated. PM Modi said that India and Bhutan are moving beyond the traditional sectors of cooperation and are exploring new frontiers for collaboration. PM spoke of India's moon mission Chandrayaan-2 and expressed hope that Bhutan space scientists will benefit from our experiences and learnings.
For us, the space program is not just a matter of national pride. It is a vital instrument of national development and global cooperation. Through satellites, benefits of telemedicine, distance education, resource mapping, weather forecasts, and even warning of natural disasters will reach even remote areas. It is even a matter of great happiness that young Bhutanese scientists will travel to India to work on designing and launching Bhutan's own small satellite.
Prime Minister hailed Bhutan as a land of happiness, harmony, togetherness and compassion. He said that Bhutan is known across the world for the concept of gross national happiness. PM said that this very spirit radiated from the adorable children who lined the streets to welcome him on Saturday.
Bhutan's message to humanity is happiness. Happiness which springs from harmony. The world can do with a lot more happiness. Happiness which shall prevail over mindless hate.
Prime Minister Modi's message over his two-day visit was clear. As Bhutan soars high in its endeavours, 1.3 billion Indians will partner with the land of the Thunder Dragon, share with the nation of happiness and learn from it.
The highlight of the two-day visit to Bhutan has been the visit of Indian Prime Minister to the Royal University of Bhutan and interaction with the students. And to quote PM Modi himself, with the happiness and energy of youth, sustainable development is quite possible.
With Vishal Baristo, Sudhakar Das and Neeraj Singh in Thimpu for DD News. And Prime Minister Modi thanked Prime Minister Bhutan Lote Tshering for his Facebook post about exam warriors. Well, that's a book that Prime Minister Modi penned to advise youngsters about how to face exams without stress. He said Buddhism was the inspiration behind the mantras that he shared in the book.
Exam Warrior, a book I wrote about how to face exams without stress. In Exam Warriors is influenced by the teachings of Lord Buddha, particularly the importance of positivity, overcoming fear and living in oneness, be it with present moment or with Mother Nature.
And let's now listen into some reactions to Prime Minister's address. Students at the University of Bhutan.
पहला चीज़ ये कि हमको मोदी जी यहाँ भूटान में आके बहुत खुशी मिला और उसके टॉक सुन के बहुत मोटिवेट हुआ और हम फिर उसको वहाँ भूटान में फिर आने का ये इंतज़ार करेगा ये बोलते हैं।
ये साइन करके भूटान के स्टूडेंट्स में बहुत अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ मिलेंगी क्योंकि अभी भी हम many Bhutanese students इंडिया में जा रहे हैं स्टडी करने के लिए और ये साइन करके तो हम Bhutanese स्टूडेंट्स को बहुत गोल्डन अपॉर्चुनिटी है। बहुत अच्छा लगा और फिर हम फोटो सेशन भी था, बहुत गोल्डन अपॉर्चुनिटी है हमारे लिए।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi also visited the National Memorial Chorten, a prominent landmark of worship and tourist attraction in Thimpu Valley. This stupa, which is predominantly white with spires of gold, was constructed in honor of Father of modern Bhutan in 1974. The stupa, unlike others, does not enshrine human remains. Only third Druk Gyalpo's photo in a ceremonial dress adorns the hall in the ground floor. Owing to its rich history, the Chorten commands immense religious devotion and worship in the country. PM Modi paid his respects at the memorial, honoring the late third Druk Gyalpo. And back home in Jammu and Kashmir, restrictions on the movement of people were eased and landline phone services restored in some parts of Kashmir Valley on Saturday. Even as stringent security arrangements remain in place, restrictions have been relaxed in 35 police station areas of Kashmir, while 17 telephone exchanges out of 96 have been made functional. More than 50,000 landline phones were operational now. The services will be restored in other areas in a calibrated manner. Security forces continue to man the barricades on roads, but have allowed people to move after checking their credentials.
started the process of easing of communications, and in the morning I had informed you that 17 exchanges throughout the Kashmir Valley had been made functional, resulting in functionality of landline communication. So as we speak, the authorities are on the job of releasing further telephone connections, and by end of day today, we hope that nearly 23,000 landline connections across Kashmir Valley will be made functional.
Meanwhile, in Jammu region, restrictions have been eased in 5 more districts. The restrictions were eased in Kishtwar, Doda and Ramban districts in Chenab Valley and border districts of Poonch and Rajouri in Pir Panjal region on Saturday morning. Principal Secretary Jammu and Kashmir Rohit Kansal said educational institutions will be reopened from Monday.
We are planning to open schools on Monday, for which the necessary preparatory exercise has already been done. We also have the Hajis returning tomorrow, for which the Divisional Administration Kashmir has made adequate arrangements for facilitation.
Moving on, sending stern message to Pakistan, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh today clarified that talks with Pakistan is only possible when Islamabad stops sponsoring terrorism. During Jan Aashirwad Yatra in Haryana, he also said that India will only hold talks on POK with Pakistan.
कहते हैं पाकिस्तान के लोग, भारत और पाकिस्तान के बीच बात होनी चाहिए। किस बात पर बात होनी चाहिए? कौन सा मुद्दा है जिस पर बात होनी चाहिए? क्यों बात होनी चाहिए? बात यदि पाकिस्तान के साथ होगी तभी होगी जबकि जो आतंकवाद को संरक्षण देने का काम, पैदा करने का काम पाकिस्तान अपनी धरती पर कर रहा है, जब तक उस आतंकवाद को समाप्त नहीं करता है तो पाकिस्तान से बातचीत करने का कोई कारण नहीं है मेरे बहनों भाई। और आगे भी जो बातचीत होगी, किस मुद्दे पर बातचीत होगी? अरे बात होगी अब तो पाक अधिकृत कश्मीर पर बात होगी बहनों भाई, और किसी मुद्दे पर बात नहीं होगी।
And lauding the government's decision of scrapping Article 370, he said that BJP government takes decision in the interest of the nation and not of the party.
लोग कहते थे कि धारा 370 को यदि जिस समय टच करने की कोशिश करेंगे, छूने की कोशिश करेंगे, देश बढ़ जाएगा। और लोग कहते थे कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी फिर सत्ता में नहीं आ पाएगी। मैं दो टूक शब्दों में कहना चाहता हूं, भारतीय जनता पार्टी मेरे बहनों भाइयों केवल सरकार बनाने के लिए राजनीति नहीं करती है। भारतीय जनता पार्टी राजनीति करती है तो देश बनाने के लिए राजनीति करती है, केवल सरकार बनाने के लिए हम राजनीति नहीं करते।
And addressing the gathering, Rajnath Singh also said that government is committed for the welfare of farmers. He said BJP-led government at the centre aims to double the income of farmers by 2021.
किसान होने के नाते ऑर्गेनिक फार्मिंग की तरफ आप जाइए। 2022 छोड़ दीजिए, 2022 आते आते केवल आपकी आमदनी 2 गुना नहीं होगी, बल्कि 2023-24 होते होते आपकी आमदनी जितनी आज है उसकी 2.5 गुना हो जाएगी। मैं यह दावे के साथ मैं कहता हूं।
Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu on Saturday held talks with Lithuanian President Jan Aashirwad and discussed important aspects of bilateral relationship as well as global and regional issues of common interest. Vice President, who is on a 3-nation visit to the Baltic region, also briefed Lithuanian President on the recent decision of the Indian government to abrogate Article 370 of the Constitution that conferred special status upon Jammu and Kashmir. He also informed Lithuanian President that more than 100 progressive legislations have now become applicable to the 2 union territories. They include reservation of seats for women in panchayats, local self-governments, implementing child protection programs, ensuring a right to education for children and protecting women from domestic violence. Vice President will address the Indian community today. Vice President is on a 5-day trip to Lithuania, Latvia and Estonia, the first ever high-level visit from India to the 3 Baltic nations. Union Minister for Environment and Forests Prakash Javadekar has said that coming together of basic countries, that's Brazil, South Africa, India and China, and putting views together is an important aspect of United Nations negotiations. Speaking at the 28th Basic Ministerial Meeting on Climate Change in Sao Paulo, Brazil, Environment Minister said that the basic group could play an important role in making Paris Agreement accepted by all countries in its true letter and spirit. He added that basic countries would be united and speak in one voice, and the joint statement which was issued has highlighted all the issues which are relevant for the world today. Some weather news now. Heavy rains slashed several parts of the country, disrupting normal life. In Himachal Pradesh, heavy rains in several areas triggered flash floods and landslides. It disrupted road traffic and prompted the Kangra District Administration to order closure of schools. The Mandi-Kullu National Highway has also been closed for vehicles following heavy rains. The road was closed for vehicles as the water in Beas River rose to a dangerous level. Several vehicles are stranded due to the roadblock, but no loss of life or property has been reported so far. Met Department has warned of heavy rains in low and middle hills of the state, especially in Simla, Solan, Mandi and Kangra districts. Meanwhile, as heavy rains slashed several parts of Uttarkashi district, nearly a dozen roads, including Gangotri-Yamunotri national highways, remain blocked for several hours due to flash floods and landslides, leaving several commuters stranded. The Gangotri highway near Army camp in Harshil area was closed due to a landslide following heavy rainfall in the area. The highway was shut after boulders fell on the road, blocking traffic on both sides. In Punjab, an alert has been sounded in several districts following release of excess water from Bhakra Dam through the spill gates after heavy rainfall in its catchment area. People living near Satluj River and low-lying areas have been advised to be vigilant and take precautions to safeguard themselves. And Delhi Heights also woke up to a rainy day today. Rainfall lashed out in parts of Delhi NCR, leaving weather pleasant but causing waterlogging in several areas, affecting vehicular traffic. The Met Department has forecast that the weather will remain cloudy with moderate rainfall for the next few days. In Rajasthan, several rivers and dams are overflowing due to incessant rainfall, and adequate measures are being taken to keep the situation under control. The Chambal River is 12 meters above the danger mark in Dholpur. In Tonk, Bisalpur Dam is almost filled and its gates can be opened at any time. An advisory in this regard has been already issued. Andhra Pradesh too received heavy showers with swollen Krishna River, leaving around 80 villages and hundreds of acres of farmland under a sheet of water in two districts. Krishna River is flowing above the danger mark in Vijayawada district of Andhra Pradesh, while the NDRF team has retrieved body of a girl who drowned in the river. That toll has reached 2 at the moment. Several villages and farmland have inundated in the water. Meanwhile, people in Kerala have started returning to their respective homes from relief camps. Search operations are continuing at Kavalapara in Mallapuram with Muttumala in Wayanad, the two areas which were the worst hit in the second spell of southwest monsoon rains since August 8 that prompted floods where massive landslides had wiped out 2 villages. And due to bad weather, out of 11 flights, 9 flights have been cancelled to Leh for today. Tourists are facing problem due to cancellation of flights. And heavy downpour has caused waterlogging at multiple stretches of West Bengal's Kolkata. Commuters were seen stuck in traffic and pedestrians' movement was also disrupted due to the torrential rains. Let's look at some international updates. At least 63 people were killed, over 180 injured in an explosion targeting a wedding in Afghan capital Kabul. The blast, which took place late on Saturday, came as Washington and Taliban are in the final stages of a deal to reduce the US military presence in Afghanistan. However, Taliban denied any involvement in this attack. The latest blast comes just 10 days after a huge bomb outside a Kabul police station killed at least 14 people and injured more than 150. Sudan's ruling military council and civilian opposition alliance have signed a landmark power-sharing deal. The deal has been signed by Hemeti and Lieutenant General Abdel Fattah Abdul-Rahman Burhan for the military council and Ahmad Al-Rabi for the Alliance for Freedom and Change umbrella group of the pro-democracy protesters. The Prime Ministers of Ethiopia and Egypt and South Sudanese President were among the regional leaders who attended the ceremony. The agreement ushers in a new governing council, including both civilians and generals, to pave the way towards elections and civilian rule. Sudan has seen pro-democracy protesters and repression since long time. Ruler Omar al-Bashir was ousted in April. And a short while from now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, after concluding a successful two-day visit to Bhutan, will be coming back home. He'll be taking a flight from Paro Airport in Bhutan. And day two of Prime Minister was focusing on the connect that he has with the youngsters and youth as he addressed a special function. And the address was directed the Royal University of Bhutan, and he addressed the students. He spoke about the kind of bond that the two countries have enjoyed and shared in the past, and the manner in which the diversification of relationship that we witnessed when the leaders met is going to take forward, and the focus is going to be on the youth of the two nations, of India and Bhutan. My colleague Neeraj, who's covering Prime Minister's visit to Bhutan, is joining us. Neeraj, looking at the highlights of day two of Prime Minister's visit, हमें लगता है कि जो यूथ है, जो फ्यूचर है, जो भविष्य है दोनों देशों का, उस पे खासा फोकस रहा प्राइम मिनिस्टर के एड्रेस का।
देखिए, बिल्कुल खासा फोकस रहा, क्योंकि प्रधानमंत्री ने जब रॉयल यूनिवर्सिटी भूटान जब पहुंचे थे, उन्होंने छात्रों को संबोधित करा। उस समय उन्होंने बोला था कि दोनों ही देशों के जो रिश्ते हैं, जिस ऊंचाई पर पहुंचे हैं, उस ऊंचाई से आगे ले जाने का जो काम है, ये जो छात्र हैं, जो यूथ है, जो युवा है, वो करेगा। और यही कारण है कि उन्होंने युवाओं को खास तौर से आह्वान किया और ये कहा कि जिस तरीके से भारत के अंदर तमाम तरह के जो कार्य हैं, तमाम तरह के जो प्रयास चल रहे हैं, उससे जो भूटान का जो युवा है वो भी रूबरू होगा। खास तौर से पीपल टू पीपल जो कनेक्ट की उन्होंने जो बात की थी, उनका कहना है कि समझौते और संबंध दूसरी जगह है, लेकिन जब एक दूसरे के देशों के जो लोग एक दूसरे से मिलते हैं तो वो ज्यादा एक कह सकते हैं कि बेहतर समझदारी होती है, समझने का एक बेहतर प्रयास होता है दोनों देशों के रिश्तों को। और यही कारण है कि उन्होंने यूथ का आह्वान किया और आज तरीके से समझौते भी हुए। अगर आप देखें, शुभेंदु की 10 समझौतों में 7 समझौते शिक्षा को लेकर हुए हैं। तो शिक्षा कितना कंसर्न है हमारे प्रधानमंत्री और भूटान के जो प्रधानमंत्री हैं, उन दोनों के बीच में, कि हमारे जो यूथ है अगर बेहतर शिक्षा पाएगा, बेहतर एजुकेशन लेगा, तो निश्चित तौर पर देश के लिए काम करेगा, देश की तरक्की के लिए काम करेगा। और हमारे प्रधानमंत्री का मोटो भी यही है कि जिस तरक्की के रास्ते पर भारत चल रहा है, उसी तरक्की के रास्ते पर जो भारत के तमाम जो दोस्त हैं, और खासतौर से भूटान का उन्होंने जिक्र किया कि कौन देश नहीं चाहेगा भूटान जैसा पड़ोसी। तो आप समझ सकते हैं कि किस तरह से कनेक्ट किया प्रधानमंत्री ने। और प्रधानमंत्री सीधा संवाद करना पसंद करते हैं, सीधी बात करना पसंद करते हैं, और यही कारण है कि उन्होंने सीधे छात्रों से बात की। तो निश्चित तौर पर हमारे दोनों देशों के संबंधों को अगर हम देखें तो एक नई ऊंचाई पर ले जाने का जो प्रयास है वो प्रधानमंत्री कर रहे हैं। और खास तौर से उन्होंने युवाओं को भी कहा है कि जिस प्रयास को हमने शुरू किया है, उस प्रयास को आप भी आगे ले जाने की कोशिश करें।
जी नीरज, जो शिक्षा की दिशा में जो नॉलेज नेटवर्क्स को कनेक्ट किया गया है भारत और भूटान की, ये कितना ट्रांसफॉर्मेटिव एक स्टेप होगा यूथ को एक तरफ कनेक्ट करने के लिए, और दूसरा जो बेस्ट प्रैक्टिसेस हैं एजुकेशन में दोनों देशों की, वो आपस में सीखने के लिए?
देखिए, एक बहुत बड़ा कदम है। अगर जो भूटान की रॉयल यूनिवर्सिटी जिसमें करीब 10,000 के करीब स्टूडेंट पढ़ते हैं, अगर वो स्टूडेंट भारत की टॉप आईटी जो संस्थान है, इसके अलावा टॉप क्लास के यूनिवर्सिटी हैं, अगर उनसे सीधी जुड़ती हैं, तो आप समझ सकते हैं कि एजुकेशन के क्षेत्र में कितना आगे भूटान जा सकता है, कितनी संभावनाएं उसके सामने रहेंगी। क्योंकि एजुकेशन में भारत की अगर हम देखें तो भारत की जो स्थिति है वो काफी बेहतर स्थिति है एजुकेशन।
बिल्कुल नीरज, और इसी अपडेट के साथ आपका धन्यवाद हमसे जुड़ने के लिए। एज वी मेंशन, प्राइम मिनिस्टर नरेंद्र मोदी विल बी कंक्लूडिंग हिज विजिट टू Bhutan a short while from now. He will be taking a flight back home from Bhutan. With those updates, we conclude this bulletin. News and updates continue after a short break. Namaskar.